Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're talking about one of the smallest but most important details about grooming your miniature horse for shows: hoof polish. Whether you're new to the show ring or looking to perfect your technique, polishing your miniature horse's hooves can make a huge difference in their overall appearance. Okay, huge. So what we're looking at now is a polished versus an unpolished hoof. Look at the difference. Kind of dull, still fine, still looks fine, but you've got dull and not exactly at its most attractive versus something really shiny, really pretty. Well, in the show ring, it's often the little details that separate a good turnout from a great one. Clean, well-polished hooves help give your horse a finished look. Judges notice them, spectators notice them, and they just photograph beautifully, so you'll get better pictures of your horse, something you can really remember. So, you can have white hooves, like Shadowfax. He has naturally white hooves. Or you can get a black polish. You can get clear or you can get black. Depending on the look you're going for, you might use black polish, you might use clear polish. You might even decide that you're not going to polish at all, but you're going to really clean up and buff the hooves. You might decide to go for a more natural look. As long as they're clean and buffed, you should be okay. Some people prefer black on white feet for a bold classic look, while others feel that's a little bit distracting. I like his natural white feet, so if we were to compete these days, I would put a clear coat on top of his beautiful hooves, because when his hooves are all cleaned up, he looks spectacular. A black hoof looks off on him, probably because I know him so well and I know he doesn't have black hooves, but I would use clear. You might prefer a black, especially if you have a darker colored horse. It all comes down to personal preference and what flatters your individual horse. Okay? So, you have to prep the hoof before you put a bunch of polish on it. If you just grab your horse and throw some polish on it, it's not going to look good. It's going to look uneven and rough instead of fancy and polished. So you need to start your prep before you apply any polish. During that bath that we talked about in last week's video, you want to scrub the feet thoroughly with a grooming block to remove any stains. First of all, this is especially important if you're going with a clear polish. If you are going to put a clear polish on, every imperfection in that hoof is going to show. So you want to make sure you polish off any of those stains. And they do get stains. I mean, look at what they walk around in. And he sometimes has grass stains, okay, which isn't even as gross as some of the stains they can get on their feet. But still, sometimes he's got grass stains all over his feet, and you don't want a pony with grass stains competing. So get the stains off. It can come off easily with a grooming block. You just use it basically it's almost like kind of like sandpaper-ish. It's not sandpaper, but it takes those stains right off. It works really well. So do that. It's like sanding the hoof a little bit, but it just cleans it up a little bit, takes some of that, some of the stains that have built up on your pony's hoof right off. It's worth the time. So feet can be lightly sanded as well using fine grit sandpaper to smooth out ridges or imperfection. This gives your polish an even surface to adhere to and makes the final look a little bit more professional. You want a smooth surface. So if there's kind of like waves or bumps, just sand those down, right? Remember, his hoof is like your fingernails. So you can sand and polish your fingernail without hurting you. As long as you're not taking off a lot, you're not going to hurt him. Okay, it's like fingernail. It's okay to sand it and buff it and polish it. You're not going to hurt him, I promise. If your horse has stripes on their hooves, make sure that those appear as straight as possible when you've done your sanding instead of kind of crooked. The straighter they appear, the better the foot looks, because a kind of crooked stripe can make the hoof look crooked itself. And if you do have crooked stripes that are natural on your horse, so you can't fix them, because it's not because they're dirty, not because they need a little sanding. If it's not because of any of that and you just have naturally crooked stripes, you might want to do a black polish just to cover those up. Because seriously, the stripes, a crooked stripe can sometimes even make it look like the horse is walking weird, just because it distracts the eye. And judges are really paying attention. So if you have uneven or crooked stripes, maybe opt for a black polish. It will give you a cleaner look in that particular scenario. Now for the polish itself. Well, You want to wear gloves, okay? Especially if you're using black polish. It gets on everything and it gets literally everywhere. So gloves, and work in an area where it's okay if you get polish on the ground. It's because your pony's going to stomp his feet and there's going to be polish. It's going to get on your hands. You're going to try to keep it on the brush and in the little tub. It's not going to work. So wear gloves and be very, very cautious of getting it on your clothing, okay? Or wear clothing you don't care if you get stained. Just be careful. It will get on everything. Try to keep it off the actual horse. Just do his hooves. You don't want to get it on his legs. You want to work slowly and methodically. Make sure your horse is standing still. You might need a helper, okay? Get a helper if you need to, and don't let your horse's first time with the brush and polish be the first time he's ever been exposed to the brush, okay? Don't let that scenario be the first time when you're actually applying actual polish. Get him used to you using the brush on his hooves in advance. Like, do it every few days for months before you do it for real for the first time, just so he's used to you taking his foot and brushing it with a brush. Then when you actually are using the polish on it, he'll be a little more used to it. So you might need a helper to get him to stay still. Once applied, your horse does need to stay as still as possible until that polish dries. Here is where you can use a nail polish drying spray. This is my preference because it just sets things a little bit faster. But you do need to get them to stand still, because if they lift up one leg and touch the other leg, now they have polish, okay? Or they step in shavings, now they got shavings on their wet polish. It's like nail polish. Imagine taking your wet finger and dipping it in shavings. Well, now you've wrecked your polish. Or imagine taking your freshly polished nails and touching your shirt. Well, now you got nail polish on your shirt. Treat it like nail polish. And like I said, you can use a nail polish drying spray. It works really well on hoof black, okay? It works on the clear stuff too. I would do it no matter what color you're using. Nail polish drying spray, done. Okay, it sets up much, much faster. It speeds things up a lot, especially if your horse is impatient. Not all horses want to stand there while the polish dries. So the polish drying spray, it's just regular nail polish drying spray. They make specific ones for horses, but you can just use, if you have some, you can just use it. Especially miniature horses, they have little feet. You don't need very much. It works very quickly, and it's very easy to use. I really recommend it. The other thing you want is you want hoof black remover if you're using actual hoof black and not the clear polish, and baby wipes. Oddly enough, baby wipes, not the sensitive skin ones, but the standard baby wipe, is really good at removing accidental smudges from hoof black. It won't get all of it, but it'll help kind of reduce the amount of nonsense you're dealing with, because it is nonsense, okay? And it's really good if you accidentally get it a little bit up your horse's hoof, up their leg a little bit. It'll help remove most of it, not necessarily all of it, but hopefully you're not doing it 5 seconds before you go into the show, so you have a little time to work on it anyway. Okay? So, clear versus black. Well, that one's black, that one's clear. Okay? Black polish, clear polish. Black polish is bold and traditional, but clear polish is a really good choice if you want a more natural look of your pony, especially for light colored or white hooves, which is why I would only use clear on him. He's got such beautiful hooves. They deserve to be showcased. It enhances the shine without covering the natural color. So really, it really depends. Sometimes leaving a white hoof clean and bare can give the appearance of more length and refinement, perfect for certain breed standards or classes. However, if your pony's hooves don't really have a fantastic look, you might opt for the black anyway. Now, right before heading into the ring, give each hoof a quick check. You want to make sure everything is clean and ready for the show ring. Wipe off any dust, reapply polish if you have to, and just make sure that nothing is smudged. You don't want smudges, especially up the hoof, because that looks messy. It's not good. So you want to very carefully lead your pony into the show ring, especially if the polish, if you just had to touch it up, it might still be a little damp. So careful. If you're dealing with last minute scuffs, a second coat or a dab of polish can work wonders, but you do need enough time for it to dry. So keep an eye on those hooves, see if you have to do a touch up. Try not to have to do a touch up as you're walking into the ring. Okay, that's not going to help. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you prefer a black polish or a clear polish on your minis hooves, or if you've got a favorite brand or hack that I personally should try. We'll see you tomorrow.